by San Juan Regional Medical Center, which is officially baby-friendly. This evidence-based initiative is designed to support mother-baby bonding and optimal infant feeding practices by upholding the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. San Juan Regional Medical Center, officially baby-friendly, and serving the Four Corners since 1910. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Eleven minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Friday morning, February 21st. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Micklin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and of course streaming everywhere from our website, KSJE.com. Welcome, of course, also to our viewers, because this is visual radio. So thank you for tuning in to the visual radio program streaming live this morning on the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel. We're glad you're with us, everybody. Coming up in the next few moments, Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett is in the studio to talk with me about some of his recent trips. Also some exciting things going on planned for Farmington this summer, and we'll also mention complete streets, I'm sure. That's coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then we'll round out the hour this morning by talking to members of the Piedra Vista High School Drama Department. They are putting on The Wizard of Oz, The Deleted Scenes next weekend. We'll hear more about that coming up later on this morning about 8:50 on KSJE. Mick Hess will be in Roving with the Arts. It is our weekday classical music and Broadway show tunes program. Today he is playing music from the motion picture Paint Your Wagon. That's coming up today at 9:06 on KSJE. Today at noon, it's a preview of the San Juan Symphonies concert this weekend. It is celebrating Beethoven's 250th birthday. The concert is this Saturday in Farmington. It is already sold out Sunday afternoon in Durango. So Durango folks, if you didn't get your tickets, make a trip to Farmington on Saturday and check out the concert here at the Henderson Performance Hall at San Juan College. We'll be previewing the concert today at noon on our Friday Spotlight program with the very talented Tennille Taylor. She's my guest at noon today on KSJE. And then at 12:30, don't forget, it's our weekly storytelling program produced in cooperation with our friends at the Farmington Public Library, Cuentos, Hana, and Tales. Storytelling today at 12:30 on KSJE. In addition, of course, to Facebook and YouTube, don't forget you can also connect with us on Twitter and follow us on Instagram as well. Here's our weather forecast. Partly sunny for today, 57 for high on this Friday in Farmington, 34 overnight, and then maybe a chance of rain showers this weekend. Today we'll see, or tomorrow I should say, a chance of showers with a high of 53, an overnight low of 34 degrees. It's going to be maybe some rain and snow showers on Sunday with a high of 47, and also an overnight low of 29, maybe more scattered showers on Monday with a high of 51 degrees. And of course, we always say that visual radio can take you places. We will take you to another place in New Mexico this morning. Here's Ruidoso from a few moments ago, and it's a cloudy day in Ruidoso today. 28 degrees, current temperature. They're on their way to a high of 47 and an overnight low of 28 degrees. As we take a look at Ruidoso, can't really even see the mountains in the background there because of all those clouds, but a beautiful spot in New Mexico, that's for sure. Well, let me turn to my guest who is here with me this morning. Just took a selfie. Mayor Nate Duckett is with me this morning. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Scott. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Thank you for being here, of course. Well, you've been busy.
I have been busy.
Yeah. Do you want to post your selfie?
I'm going to post a selfie right now.
I interrupted you
Facebook.
as you were doing that, yeah.
There was a lot of selfies being taken yesterday.
Was there?
Yeah, here at the School of Energy.
That was a big deal. We talked about that with, actually Mike Stark was here in the morning, and
great.
Commissioner Crowley, talking about that signing between the county and the Navajo Nation, right? And the city certainly will be a part of that, right?
Absolutely. We're definitely a part of that team that wants to bring new opportunities for economic growth and industry to the Four Corners. So, I mean, it's a big deal.
Right. This is about rail we're talking, and that was the reason for the MOU, this Memorandum of Understanding between the county and the tribe yesterday.
Correct. Rail and petrochemical plant being a part of that conversation. You know, we're trying to find that next industry that can utilize natural gas. Right. And with a railroad, you have opportunities for agricultural growth and manufacturing and so many other things. We actually had somebody down here from La Plata County. One of their commissioners came down and said, hey, this would be a huge deal for us. We have lots of goods that we would like to get out of southern Colorado down to the I-40 corridor and, of course, over to the West Coast. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, I think when we talked yesterday, and we talked with certainly Arvin Trujillo from Four Corners Economic Development, that this would be a regional, I think, economic driver to have a rail line even as far as Farmington. Even if it stops here, I'm sure you wouldn't be opposed to having Farmington be the hub or the loading and unloading place for a rail line to the I-40 corridor.
No, I think that would be excellent for us.
Right, exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of people. Obviously, when you're talking about economic development and putting all your tools and all your assets and everything that you have available, cheap, affordable transportation is a key component for any type of industrial growth.
Right.
And unfortunately, we don't have that right now. So,
well, we have
this would be
one choice, and that's really trucking, and that's about all we have. So
Correct.
this would open up those opportunities. And as I mentioned too, once you get the tracks built, the type of train can be upgraded and evolving and things along that line. It could be diesel to start, but it could be maybe electric over time. It could be something else we haven't even invented yet. But if you got the tracks in, that's really 80% of, I would think, the project.
I would agree with you.
So, but what do I know? I'm just a radio
I don't
guy.
know anything either.
But that's okay.
But I like it.
I do know that you were in Washington, D.C. What was it, last week?
I was in D.C. last week from Sunday through Wednesday.
And this was a work trip, not a pleasure trip.
Correct. I was invited to go out to D.C. to speak to two different conferences. The first one was on Monday at the National Association of Regulatory Utility Commissioners, also called NARUC.
Okay.
So stick that one in there.
There you go. All right.
And it basically, that brings your public regulation commissioners from all over the United States to D.C. for this. And so we were about 1,500 people who were there. Dr. David Goldtooth, the interim superintendent for CCSD, he happened to be in D.C. at the same time. So I invited him to join me to do this presentation. In front of it was probably 300 people in the room at the time we did it.
Right.
The photo that's up here is actually from Tuesday's presentation that we did. This is for the USEA, United States Energy Association.
Another acronym.
Got
you.
Okay.
I gotcha. Okay.
This one was about an hour and a half long presentation, which was really good because we were able to talk about the San Juan Generating Station project, talk about the impacts of losing coal-fired power plants to the communities in which they exist. What I appreciate is they're wanting to get that local point of view to present to, these are the actual true deficits that are going to occur when you take 1,500 jobs out of a community, or when we compare, take San Juan Generating Station, Navajo Generating Station, Four Corners Power Plant, Cholla, Escalante, all these ones that surround our area.
Right.
There's 5,000 to 6,000 direct jobs that are going to be lost. So,
in the region.
the region.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just 5 states over, but now we're talking, within a, 300-mile radius, would you say?
I would say so.
So that's a big impact.
Springerville's another one. So,
Right, in Arizona.
There's so many of them.
Right.
So we try to extrapolate on the fact that from our study and what we understand about the impacts to San Juan Generating Station, you can certainly apply those to those other power plants as well. And what are you going to do with that workforce? What are you going to do with the school districts when they lose those tax dollars? How do you replace those people in the communities who are going to have to leave to find work somewhere else?
Right. And so what was the reaction, I guess, from the audience? Were they fairly open to your message, I guess, about how the community is facing with these things? Yeah,
there's still that. There was a question that came up at the USEA presentation. Of one of the people said, "Look, you have a ton of sunshine in New Mexico. Why don't you guys just build solar?" And so, you're going back and saying, well, look, we absolutely do, and solar should be a component of our energy portfolio. But we're talking about the jobs that are associated with it. And the carbon capture sequestration technology allows us to have a low CO2 form of base power that we can keep those jobs. And why aren't we
keep
looking
the mine
at those,
open, keep providing coal to the plant, but
right.
The plant is operating now more cleanly, more efficiently
That's
under
right.
this idea of carbon capture, which is what the city has been trying to propose and proposing quite well with the San Juan Generating Station, and that's kind of where things are moving forward with that so far.
And every time I leave Washington, I will just say this, there's so much optimism from the people in Washington, D.C., and specifically for this project. The geography and its location to the pipeline that goes down to the Permian Basin, the workforce that already exists in this area that's trained and they know they could put immediately into these new jobs that will be expanded upon. Everybody's really behind it. Now, this week, of course, we had the big announcement that the IRS finally came out with their guidance rules for the 45Q tax credits. And for people who may not know what that means, these are similar tax credits to how they built the renewable energy industry. Tesla is a part of that. I mean, Tesla came out of these tax credits. So this allows investors to get involved into these clean carbon projects, of which there's I don't know, there may be 50 right now under study throughout the United States.
Okay.
But this one in particular has gotten special attention, and we're hopeful that because of that, we'll see this come to fruition.
So the way that this project has been kind of proposed for carbon capture with the San Juan Generating Station, it's not cheap, but the idea being is with these tax credits, you could find some investors that could help cover the costs of some of this stuff, and they would be then guaranteed or at least have less risk of getting some investment back. Is that the idea?
That's the idea.
And it makes it a little bit more, I guess, less risky for them to sign their checks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
With this federal incentive.
Federal backing, yeah.
Right. So that's what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And again,
But great news, Scott. Let's not undermine that.
right.
The 45Q guidance rules we've been waiting for 2 years on. This will now allow a lot of these projects that have been sitting by the wayside to really start gaining some momentum and bring this conversation more to the forefront for the entire United States.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think there's a lot of folks who are rooting for Farmington. They're rooting for the project to go through. We, again, are still efforting to get the Enchant Energy folks on the show at some point to talk to them about it and hear what they have to say.
We should bring you to D.C.
Well, why not? Sure.
We should have had you stream that.
We could pack up all the cameras.
They stream that online, too, the USEA presentation.
See, we could have done that. That's right.
And actually, the entire Enchant team showed up in the middle of that presentation.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's a lot of folks that are excited about it. There are some folks that are concerned, and a lot of folks are concerned about the city. They don't want the city to lose millions and millions of dollars and have taxpayers at risk. And I know you've assured us that that is not the case.
That's not the case at all. I mean, that was one of the primary components of the initial contract negotiations, was to ensure that the city was protected from any further liability and to put a cap on the cost of our power for our Farmington electric utility customers. Those things have been worked into that. We're going to continue to put into our reclamation escrow account as we have done since the 1980s. None of that has changed for us.
The city has always been a part owner of that plant, and that would still be the case, not the full owner,
right,
but a part owner.
We maintain 5%? Our 5%. That 43 megawatts is all we're looking for at this point. Again, the important component for us is that there's $27 million of unappreciated assets sitting in the power plant. We would like to see those get appreciated, and then we don't want to have to go out and build new generation to replace those 43 megawatts that we might be losing from there, because again, that's money that goes on to our ratepayers. So maintaining that plant saves all of us money, and that's one of the keys.
Right. Well, again, thanks for the update, and we look
absolutely.
forward to talking to Enchant about their specific plans and how this moves forward and what the timeline is. And I know folks are watching PNM as they kind of ramp down their involvement with the plant and to see what's next. And
yes, sir.
As you mentioned, there's a lot of these things kind of that seem to be falling into place.
They absolutely do. I will tell you that, just as a final note, I mean, one of the comments made to me in D.C. was we weren't sure exactly what was going to happen with this. It was kind of a toss-up. But we feel now we're 60 to 70% sure that this is going to happen. So there's more confidence being built behind it every day.
Wow. Well, again, a lot of people rooting for you and the team and the folks that are putting this together.
Well,
I know there's a
root
lot
for
of
the community, not for root for me. Root for this community.
Well, but
losing those jobs would be a major hit to this community.
It would be, and
let's root for ourselves for sure.
That I think we all understand. But I think folks are excited at the prospects of maybe keeping the plant open as a cleaner. A demonstration of how you can use coal power.
Absolutely.
And show it for the rest of the world. I guess it would be almost a demonstration site, I would think.
I think
at this large of a scale.
I think the U.S. needs to lead in this. I mean, I think that's part of what makes us a great country is our ability to adapt and utilize technologies. And we have some very intelligent people who are working behind this carbon capture tech in the labs, in the federal labs all across the United States. Los Alamos, of course, came out, did an independent study on it, said absolutely this is feasible here. And they're looking at now a network opportunity with the power plants and the coal mines that surround this area of how we can utilize coal in new ways, because there's so much of it here and there's such a big workforce. What else could coal be used for? And they've got some pretty interesting products that I got to look at while I was in D.C. So that's exciting to me as well, because we're going to find new ways to use coal would be a big benefit to the United States as a whole.
Well, good luck. Keep us posted.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
But I know that not all of your eggs are in the carbon capture basket, because on the other side of things, I know you and your team at the city have been talking about economic diversity, and in fact, you and I were involved in an event. I was just the moderator, but Jolt Our Future, about different ways to diversify the economy, different things that the city is looking at, and so I wanted to ask you a bit about that this morning. That was in January.
Right.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And so pretty exciting stuff, right? Talking a little bit about...
I mean, we're putting into play, and we're putting into our actual master plan for the next 20 years, our comprehensive plan, the things that we've been working on for the past 5 years. The emphasis on the outdoor recreation and industry opportunities that exist there, an emphasis on a retirement community environment, and how do we build that up, those sorts of things. So the film industry was also highlighted.
Part of that.
Yeah, as a part of that as well.
And broadband, I think, internet improvements and things like that too, because that can certainly drive a lot of other types of business and folks moving into a community.
So we want to get the community's feedback, and that's what the Jolt Your Future kind of campaign is all about. I mean, without their feedback and their ideas, we don't have a comprehensive plan. So that event was great. Had some good turnout there. But it's important. I'd love for people to go online, and there's a survey that's available to them on the City of Farmington's website, and I believe on their Facebook page, and fill out that survey and tell us what you think about where the city needs to go, and provide that input.
Great. And again, these other areas are ways that the city is looking at to try to, again, maybe to create new jobs, not maybe save existing jobs, but create new jobs, new industry. And with these retirees, I mean, these folks don't need jobs because they're retired, but they come in with money, and they're buying city services, they're patronizing local businesses, and they bring that economic driver with them.
No, it's all about growing population. You know, what's great about what we're doing right now is there's an offense, a defense, and a special teams component to how we're trying to look at economic development. Obviously, defensively, we're trying to save some jobs and create new jobs out of our power plant. Offensively, we're trying to grow the outdoor recreation industry initiative and the retirement community. So what I think is important for folks is to understand that we're moving. Farmington is still moving. I hear comments at times that, hey man, we're just dying. We're going to be a ghost town. And certainly when you see layoffs happening in the oil and gas industry here, those are concerning. What does the future look like with that many fewer jobs?
Sure.
So, but we also need to be celebrating and promoting and marketing those things that make us a special place to live, work, play, and stay. And we have that component. I mean, there's 283 days of sunshine. We have 4 seasons. You don't get a horrible winter. There's not a lot of snow, but you get cold enough to enjoy it. To make a nice cup of hot cocoa in the mornings.
Yes, right.
So there's a lot of positive things to sell about the city. Low taxes, low cost for electricity, low cost for water. And if you're a retiree, those are things that are important because you're on a fixed income.
Sure.
And so that we believe it's an attractive place. And there are some developments popping up here that people will start seeing where American Furniture was located at. That's going to be demolished. There's going to be a new facility built there that I believe is it's kind of a combo of a retirement type community, maybe some assisted living component to it, but
well, that's good news because some of us aren't getting any younger.
That's true.
That's good to hear, Mayor.
I look in the mirror. My hair is going south. I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know, but that's exciting, and that's a pretty major project. And in fact, it'll be exciting to kind of see some of the plans for that as they get announced. But that's what's happening on the west side of town. I want to ask you about downtown because that's
another component,
kind of a lightning rod for folks. Some folks love it. Some folks don't really love it, but they're waiting to see the end results. And this is the Complete Streets project downtown. And again, the idea to make downtown more welcoming for not just motorists, because that's kind of how it's been over the years, but then maybe pedestrians and bike riders and other folks too, other modes of transportation, right?
Yeah, we're trying to create, we call it placemaking. I'm sure that's been utilized on your show quite a bit this year. But you're trying to create a space where people feel like this is theirs. And it's not something that's just about driving your vehicle up and down the street. It's going to have beautiful components to it, new aesthetics, and opportunities, I believe, for those businesses that are there right now to expand, new businesses to come in. And I mean, there's been some interesting things that have happened here, and you'll probably get to talk about it in the next few weeks. But we recently had a building down there that was they did a my goodness gracious,
ribbon cutting?
No. They did they did a review of the property value.
Oh, okay.
Whatever
assessment,
right?
Okay, right.
It increased 30%. since it was done a year ago.
Okay.
And a lot of that had using the same methodology, but a lot of buildings are being bought up downtown. So there's some anticipation of what this public-private partnership is really going to be like once the road is finished. And not just the road, the 15-foot sidewalks and the beautiful pavers and all the new trees and everything that are going to be located in that area. We see it as a huge attraction.
That's all part of this Complete Streets project, as you're talking about.
Speakers on the light pole, pedestrian lighting. When you do the Christmas parade, people will be able to hear you announce which float is there. They'll be able to hear it all the way
up and down the street.
Up and down
I'm very
Main
excited
Street.
about that, Mayor.
So
yes.
those things are. I mean, those things are important.
We can stream this show downtown every morning.
Wow,
maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to work that out. So
his eyes got really big at
that. But 17 years ago, we put this on our comprehensive plan, and we finally, funded it in 2017. So when there is, of course, some, we understand there's going to be heartburn right now. Construction stinks. But I will tell you that in the cities that I've lived in and different businesses that I've operated, when there's been heavy road work in front of my shop, the city never came and asked me how they could help me. The city didn't have weekly meetings set up with the contractors and the business owners to talk about the project and give them updates. These are things that we've been doing now for 2 years, which I think is critical. And so our report says many of those businesses' sales are up, which is such a testament to how strong our community is, and going out there and making an effort, a conscientious effort to go downtown, shop local. We had a Hustle Kindness event with the police and fire departments this last weekend. There's so much down there that if you haven't taken a chance to go and explore it, now's the time to do it. And those shop owners would certainly appreciate that. Sure.
Well, and we're showing, again, the city has again published some maps showing how close the parking is to the construction zone. Yeah. Certainly there's been maybe some concern from some of the businesses about maybe a drop-off in patronage at the beginning of the construction. But I think the community seems to have rallied and are coming back around, and there was maybe some lack of signage at the very beginnings of the project, and that has changed, and now there is, that show you how to park and how to get there.
Just don't change your habits, just change what streets you go down and where you're parking. Those 4 parking places in front of your favorite shop may not be there.
On Main Street.
But the side streets are open. We have a big parking lot set up on Broadway as well. We also have increased foot patrol for our downtown Rangers division. So there's more of those, more of that safety component out there.
Right.
And
And again, as you mentioned, this is a major project, and again, I don't know when you could do it and replace some of the utilities under the street, which is also part of this project, not just
it's a full, it's a full renovation. Water lines, sewer lines, electric lines. I mean, everything is going to be done, so we don't have to come back 10 years from now and re-tear up the road.
Right.
So, and initially, in the costs that we were associating with the project, we did not include that underground work. That all came over the next few years as we said, look, if we're going to do this, let's do it right and not put these downtown businesses through any other grief a few years down the road.
Sure. And again, I like to point out again that Main Street is only closed from about, Hill Street to Allen, and the rest of it is wide open, and you can still park in front of the stores from Allen all the way west past Auburn.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, you can go to some of these restaurants and get a front view of heavy construction going on right out in the street while you eat your food.
That's very true.
Or have a beer.
Right. That's true.
Entertainment. That's local entertainment, Scott.
That's dinner and a show.
That's right.
There you are. But it's very exciting, and as you mentioned, Mayor, then on the other side of this, the idea is going to be that the sidewalks will be wider.
Yeah.
The traffic will be moving a little bit slower, hopefully,
Correct.
and maybe not right off of your elbow. You'll have cars whizzing by.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that you can maybe have some outdoor dining to use some of those 200-plus days of sunshine a year that you mentioned that we enjoy here in Farmington, and having more of that outdoor ambiance of a downtown, of a placemaker.
Yeah, I made a comment to somebody regarding, there wouldn't have ever been a good time for us to have done this project, whether we would have kicked it off in 2003 when it first went on the plan, or whether we kick it off now. The difference would have been is we would have been looking back at 2003 had we done it then and said, wow, look at what we did and look how it revitalized the downtown area. So now we got to look out 5, 10, 15 years from now and look back and go, that was the moment that we really changed the trajectory of this important historical component. I mean, people love small town feels when they come to communities like ours. this is going to be an amenity that's going to be an attractive component and something that will trigger memories in people when they come here and want them to come back. That's our goal.
Right. And of course, the city can't do it all, right? It's going to take the private business owners, those entrepreneurs, to see the vision. And I guess
if you build it, they will come is kind of the mentality behind it.
Right.
Yes.
But either rent a space or buy a building and then have access now to this new outdoor space, which will be part of this new project when
Correct.
it's done in November, which is the plan, right?
That's it.
Phase 1 now till June, and then Phase 2, June to November.
Right, and they shifted over. So, the update the other day is that they are ahead of schedule. They, of course, are now you're getting to the point, though, where you're getting underground and you're finding all of these lines that weren't there. You don't know what they are. They've never
What do
been
you mean?
accounted
The
for.
maps aren't that great from 100 years ago,
Right.
Mayor Duckett?
So they're underground now, and they're realizing, as anticipated. I mean, this is the same thing that happened on 20th Street when we did the Complete Streets project on 20th Street. You got to Sullivan and 20th, and there was all these utility lines underneath that nobody knew what they were. We anticipated that within the timeline of this project, and they continue to push forward in it. We have put some lighting down there in the areas that where electricity has been taken out of the lights. We put some additional lighting to help illuminate those
Nice.
areas at night. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, again, downtown is open. I know the city reminds us of that regularly. The Downtown Association reminds us of that regularly, and it's important that folks do still patronize their favorite business down there. Don't stop. And if you haven't been downtown, you should check it out.
Yeah,
That's
and
what I
every
would say.
mayor's table that we're filming this year will be located in a downtown business.
Nice.
So, kind of highlighting some of these services. We filmed one the other day at the Arc off of Broadway.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this, they're like, we've been more busy now that the construction's been going on Main Street because people are on Broadway going, I don't think I've
That's
ever
where the Arc
noticed
is.
the store.
There
Yeah.
you go. So,
But-
good. Just a couple of minutes remaining, Mayor Duckett, and I know there's some thoughts and plans maybe for Farmington Lake as we approach summer. I know things are maybe going to warm up eventually, and we will enjoy those sunshine days.
I don't think it's gotten cold enough, Scott. And you're from Buffalo, so
know.
surely you want it colder.
No, I'm okay with that, actually. And, the fact that we haven't had a lot of snow this year is okay with me. I can enjoy it from afar. I do enjoy looking at the mountaintops with plenty of snow, it looks like. I think we're at average.
At least at the higher
snowpack
elevations.
levels.
Yeah, higher elevations for sure. The lower
Right.
levels, not so much. So
Durango, I know, is brown, and they're not used to that. So
hopefully there'll be something coming up here.
maybe this weekend storm, they'll get a little bit.
That would be good.
We'll see. But
Yeah.
Farmington Lake,
Yeah,
you've
Lake
got some more
Farmington.
plans, right?
Yeah, Lake Farmington, of course, when we opened it up in 2014 for non-motorized boating and then built the beach, there is a kind of a grand master plan that we're slowly chipping away at. So this summer we're going to add an aquatic park feature. It's going to be
What is
a
that?
part of the beach,
Yeah.
right? But it's going to be further out from the beach because this is kind of a network of what we call wibbits, but they're these water park. I mean, you've seen the ones that have been out there. You climb up on them, you can jump off them.
Well, I don't, but I guess someone does. Yes, you could. Yes, sir.
It's a network of
Are they kind of
these.
inflatable?
They're
maybe
all
things that are all
yeah.
floating on
Huge
the surface,
inflatable,
right?
floating.
That's
park.
what you're talking about.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we've added that addition, or going to add that addition out there. We've also begun the process of looking at the cost of running electricity out to the beach area, which we hope would kind of bring in some private investments into the area. We really need some food trucks to be a component of the beach experience. We, of course, are still in conversations with the company regarding a zip line feature and also cabins located at Lake Farmington. The BLM this summer will be connecting in the mountain bike trails and the OHV trails to the west side of the lake, so that's coming.
They'll be connected then to the other trail
They'll
network.
be connected to the
right?
network that
Get to
goes
the
all the
lake.
way through
Gotcha.
Glade Run Recreation Area.
Okay.
And we, of course, have changed the price structure. So what was once $5 per vehicle to come in is now $1 per person. So if you're somebody who just wants to go there to look at the birds or just have a nice calm or go fishing,
Okay.
it's only $1.
$1.
It's $1 to get in. And, of course, we just changed the ordinance. You can now swim anywhere in the lake.
The whole lake is going to be
whole
open for swimming.
The whole lake is open to swimming.
Okay.
We're adding some additional infrastructure for safety. There's going to be a boathouse built out there that's going to house a boat for the fire department and a personal watercraft that will be utilized by the lifeguards and
Right.
others.
Very good. Okay. Well, that's exciting. And most of these things should be ready to go by this summer then.
That's the goal.
Zip line too?
Oh, zipline, no.
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 Still working on that.
Still working on that.
Okay.
Yep.
But the aquatic additions,
aquatic park.
the full lake swimming, so of course you can't have lifeguards through the whole lake, can you? This is going to be at your own
No.
risk, won't it?
No. Every body of water is kind of at your own risk.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. But it'll be certainly expanded from the beach area.
At the Aqua Park, and by the way, we haven't named this thing yet. So this will be interesting.
All right.
When we decide what we're going to name it.
Right. Okay.
But you will have to wear a life vest
Sure.
to play on that on the Aqua Park. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that will be in the area that is somewhat supervised. Is that correct?
there will be 6 lifeguards in that area.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be part of that, and that's part of that beach area of the lake. For folks who
Correct.
haven't been out there, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't go out there, because it's really a cool amenity again for the city.
Let me make sure I say this because I would hate to leave this out. It's $1 to get into the lake.
Yes.
It's $1 to be in the beach. We're going to do a similar to what they do at Fly High for the trampoline park. You pay $5 for an hour to be to go out into the Aqua Park.
I see.
So you go out, you play for an hour, and then you can hang out at the beach and continue to swim and do whatever you want to do in that area. But we see it as a great opportunity. The other cool thing is we're actually going to create an enterprise fund. So the money that goes into the lake will go into a fund to be spent in developing more features
At the lake.
and developing the lake.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's exciting.
That's a big win.
And there's a lot of opportunities to enjoy outdoor swimming in this climate, for sure.
I think we almost had 20,000 people in the last 6-7 months out of the lake.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's been a great success opening it up. And again, to remind folks, it is so ahead of all the filtration and all the other stuff for our drinking water that it's not an issue, right?
I can't believe people would even be concerned about that. Correct.
I don't know who some of my Facebook friends are, but they are. I don't understand. Not
all
an
that
issue.
all that water gets cleaned before it ends up in your sinks.
Yes,
so
thank you.
I mean, we could go through the process and talk
don't
about where
do
water
that.
comes from.
No, thank you. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
been proven over and over again that it's fine.
Well, reservoirs all across the United States are used as recreation areas.
I know.
All over the United States, all over the world,
Yes.
actually. So yeah, it's
Okay.
not just special here.
There you go. Mayor, it's always a pleasure to sit down and talk with you. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you, Scott.
You're a
for
busy
having
guy.
me. Yeah, it's always a joy, though.
We'll bring you back.
Thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Duckett, Mayor Farmington, my guest here on KSJE. Everybody, back with more in just a moment. The time right now is 8:42.
Kickstarter workers join a union. This is big. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech, demystifying the digital economy. I'm Molly Wood.